Memorizing the unit circle. This video is going to go over some tricks to help you memorize the unit circle so that you can easily identify trig values when asked. It's going to be super important to have the trig circle memorized in calculus. You're going to be expected to know these kinds of facts fairly quickly. So here's our unit circle. Let's start off by looking at the degrees. First of all, notice we have 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and 270 degrees along our axes. Next, let's focus in on the first quadrant. We have 30 degrees, 45 degrees, and 60 degrees. These are our reference angles, and they're used a lot in trig. In quadrant 2, we have 120 degrees, 135 degrees, and 150 degrees. We get these angles by taking 90 degrees and adding on 30 or 45 or 60. In quadrant 3, we have 210 degrees, 225, and 240 degrees, which we get by taking 180 and adding on 30, 45, or 60 degrees. And in quadrant 4, we have 330 degrees, 315 degrees, and 300 degrees, which we get by adding on, again, 30, 45, or 60 degrees to 270. You can also think about getting these angles by taking 360 and subtracting off 30 or 45 or 60 degrees. Next, we have our radian measures. In quadrant 1, I have pi over 6, pi over 4, and pi over 3. Let's use these to kind of help us find the other radians in our unit circle. First of all, we notice that all of our middle angles in each quadrant, here in red, are all over 4. I have 1 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, and 7 pi over 4. Next, let's look at pi over 6. Each of these angles that are close to the x-axis are over 6. I have pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, 7 pi over 6, and 11 pi over 6. The radian measures that are closest to the y-axis are all over 3. Pi over 3, 2 pi over 3, 4 pi over 3, and 5 pi over 3. Now let's look at our points. The middle point for each quadrant is always going to be square root 2 over 2, comma square root 2 over 2. The only thing that changes is whether x or y are positive or negative, depending on the quadrant that we're in. Next, let's look at pi over 6. The point for pi over 6 is the point square root 3 over 2, comma 1/2. Notice that every other radian that's over 6 has the same point, just different signs. For all of my radians that are over 3, we take that point and we reverse it. So now we have 1/2 comma square root 3 over 2, again with signs changing depending on the quadrant that we're in. And then of course we have our quadrantal angles here that have points like 1, 0. There are many ways to memorize the unit circle. You just need to find a way that works for you. This might be a good time to Google different ways to memorize unit circle and find different tips and tricks to help you memorize.